Alright, before we dive in, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Now, let's get into the secret life of the world's most famous pets.
We all know Queen Elizabeth II. We know her historic reign, and we definitely know her iconic pack of Corgis. But the story you think you know? It's not the whole story. We're talking private chefs, palace drama, and a level of luxury that is just mind-bending. We're about to pull back the curtain on the most pampered pets in history. You know, let's just cut to the chase and ask the big question right up front. Did these dogs actually live a more luxurious life than most people? I mean, we are talking about a level of privilege that is almost impossible to wrap your head around. Stick with me because the answer is going to blow your mind.
To really get this, you have to understand the scale. We're talking more than 30 Pembroke Welsh Corgis over her 70-year reign. This wasn't just some casual pet ownership, no, this was a full-blown dynasty. And every dynasty has an origin story.
So how does a future Queen of England become the world's most famous Corgi fanatic? Well, the story doesn't start in a grand throne room. It starts in the nursery of a little girl.
Let's go back to 1933. A young Princess Elizabeth gets a gift from her father, King George VI. It's the family's very first royal Corgi, a little pup named Dookie. And this one gift, this was the spark, the moment that lit the fire on a 7-decade-long obsession. But the real start of the dynasty, the true beginning, came in 1944. For her 18th birthday, Princess Elizabeth is given Susan. Now, Susan wasn't just any Corgi, she was the matriarch, the OG. Every single royal Corgi that came after her traced its lineage right back to Susan. Okay, so we've established the Queen absolutely adored her Corgis, but what was life really like for them inside those palace walls? This is where the story goes from a cute hobby to just unbelievable extravagance.
Just for some perspective, think about old-school royal luxury. You know, back in the Tudor days, it was all about dark oak, heavy velvets, giant tapestries, very grand, very powerful.
Then you get to the Georgians, and things get a bit more elegant, right? Roman-style columns, fancy marble, soft pastel colors. This was the absolute height of human luxury at the time. So, what did the Queen's dogs get?
Yeah, you heard that right. Not a bag of the best kibble money can buy. A dedicated, in-house gourmet chef preparing their meals fresh every single day. We're not talking about leftovers here. We are talking about a custom menu for dogs.
And it gets even wilder. They had their own room in Buckingham Palace, literally called the Corgi Room. They slept in special elevated wicker baskets so they wouldn't, catch a draft. Their daily menu included freshly cooked rabbit and beef. And get this, every Christmas, the Queen herself would personally stuff stockings with toys and treats for each and every one of them. See, this was way more than just a group of pets. This was a managed bloodline. This was a dynasty, as well documented as any royal family in Europe. And it all traces back to Susan. She kicked off a line that spanned an incredible 14 generations of dogs. Then something amazing happened. It was kind of a happy accident, really. One of the Queen's Corgis had a litter with Princess Margaret's dachshund, a little guy named Pipkin. And just like that, a whole new palace-exclusive breed was born, the Dorgie.
But listen, it wasn't all perfect portraits and gentle strolls on the lawn. Behind that pristine public image, there was a darker side. Living in a pack, even a royal one, apparently leads to some serious drama.
And this is where the public image and the private reality just completely split. To the world, they were these perfect, loyal, regal companions. Behind closed doors, well, the reality was a little more bitey. Let's just say palace staff learned to keep an eye on their ankles. It actually got so bad that at one point, a member of parliament stood up and demanded a "Beware of the Dog" sign be put up at Balmoral Castle. Why? Because one of the royal Corgis had bitten the postman. And we're not talking about a little nip here. And this wasn't some one-time thing. It was a pattern. It started way back with Susan the matriarch, who bit the royal clockwinder. Fast forward to 1989, and things were so out of control they had to hire an animal psychologist to try and tame the pack. Then, in 1991, the Queen herself needed 3 stitches after trying to break up a massive dogfight. It was a real, ongoing problem.
Despite all that drama, the Corgis' place in history was totally secure. They became a huge part of the Queen's legacy, an absolute global phenomenon.
I mean, how do you really know you've made it? You get your face on the money. For the Queen's Golden Jubilee in 2002, they minted a special coin. And who was right there, pictured next to Her Majesty? You guessed it, one of her Corgis, immortalized in currency forever.
But every dynasty has to end. In 2015, the Queen made a really touching and personal decision. She would stop breeding Corgis, and her reason was just so human. She said she didn't want to leave any young dog behind. The official end of that incredible line came in 2018, when Willow, the very last descendant of her original dog Susan, passed away.
In her final years, she actually received 2 new Corgis, Muick and Sandy, as gifts to keep her company. So, the big question was, what happened to them after she passed? Well, they found a new home with Prince Andrew and Sarah, Duchess of York. They're now living out their days at the Royal Lodge on the Windsor estate, a quiet, peaceful end to a very public story.
So that brings us all the way back to where we started. Were these dogs the ultimate symbol of royal excess, a living, breathing example of a life none of us can even imagine? Or, when you strip away all the titles and the palaces, is this just the story of a woman who really, truly, deeply loved her dogs? Maybe the answer is, it was both. What do you think?